The last video of this lesson is going to involve finding arc lengths and areas of a sector. So, to begin with the idea of arc length, I have a real life problem I'd like to ask you. How many inches of crust would you get if you ate one of 6 evenly sliced pieces of a Happy Joe's pizza that is 20 inches in diameter? Now, I picked Happy Joe's because one of my favorite pizza places. I actually had a job there for a while when I was in college, and I love their pizza, especially their Nacho Joe pizza. Now, anyways, here's what we're trying to figure out. Is if I have a pizza that's 20 inches in diameter, and I'm going to cut it into 6 evenly sliced pieces. So we've already got half of it. We'll do this and this. That looks okay. So I've got 6 evenly sliced pizzas, and I want to know how much crust I get. Well, what I'm trying to figure out then is right here. How much crust? Well, that's going to be a portion of the circumference. So an arc is going to be a portion of my circumference. So what I'm finding in this problem is I'm finding an arc length. Now, there's a couple ways to do this. One way would be to think about what is the circumference of the pizza as a whole. Well, if I went all the way around that pizza, it'd be, let's see, the circumference is equal to 2 pi r, where r is the radius. Well, in this case, I've got a radius of 10 because my diameter was 20. So this would be 10 for my radius. So 2 pi times 10, well, that's going to be 20 times pi. And then, now that'd be for the entire circumference. I'm not going to eat all the crust in the whole pizza. I just want to know how much did I have right here in just one piece. Well, what I could do then is I could take my 20 pi value, whatever that might be, and I would multiply it by a fraction. Now in this case I'd multiply by 1/6 because I've got 1/6 of the pizza that I'm about to eat. Now if I didn't know that it was 6 evenly sliced pizzas, maybe I knew a particular degree measurement, like it was 40 degrees or 60 degrees, something like that, my fraction would be the number of degrees out of a possible 360 degrees. I would multiply that all together, I'd find my arc length. Now in this case I'm going to take that 20 pi times 1/6 using my calculator to do so. So here's how that would look on the calculator. We're going to take 20 times pi, and don't use 3.14 as an estimate, use the actual pi key on your calculator. We're going to multiply that times 1/6. Make sure you put the 1/6 in parentheses. And we end up with 10.47 or so. So 10.47 would be my answer. Now I'm going to make sure I label this because it's a real life problem. Let's see, I was working inches. So that must mean I have 10.47 inches of crust to consume in this pizza. Now the second pizza problem we're going to use is that of how many square inches of pizza would you get if you ate that same piece. So if I took my pizza, here would be a delicious Nacho Joe, and I were to cut my pizza into, once again, 6 even slices. Now I want to know how much pizza do I actually get. Well, I'm going to be looking for the square inches that make up this particular portion. How much pizza do I get? That would be the idea of the area of a sector. So sector is going to be a portion of the area of the entire circle. Now, the entire circle's area would be pi times radius squared. Well, in this case, again, if I want to find the area of the whole thing, I take pi times my radius squared. The radius, again, was, remember that was 10 inches squared, so it's going to turn into 100 times pi. But I don't want the whole thing, I just want a fraction of it. So I multiply by whatever fraction I need, in this case 1/6. If I was working in degrees, again, it would be the number of degrees out of a possible 360 degrees. So 100 pi times 1/6, let's see what we get here. 100 pi. Now, if I multiply by 1/6, another thing I could do is I could divide that expression by 6, come with the same thing. I get 52.36, we'll round it to. So 52.36. Label on this one, this is an area, and I was working in inches, so this is going to be square inches. So that's how much pizza, again, you get to consume. Now in both these cases I used a general area or general circumference formula and then found a fraction of that particular area or that particular circumference. If I work in radian measurement, there's actually 2 formulas that make that work slightly easier. So if I want to find the arc length, S being arc length I would take the radius times theta, the angle measurement, or the central angle of that particular arc, as long as theta is measured in radians. If I also want the same thing, there's an area formula that I can use for the area of a sector. It'd be equal to 1/2 the radius squared times theta, again where theta is a particular, or theta is the central angle measured in radians. Now using that right here, we'll answer the same problem using those formulas. So how many inches of crust? Well, that's an arc length idea. So S, the arc length, is equal to R, the radius. R is equal to 10 inches. So I've got 10 times theta is my angle measurement in radians. Well, 6 pieces is 360 divided by 6. Well, that's going to be 60 degrees, but I want it in radian measurement. Remember, 60 degrees is the same as 1/3 of pi. So I take 10 times 1/3 pi, and I end up with, let's see, we're going to have 10 times 1/3 pi. We've got 10 times, parentheses, pi divided by 3, close the parentheses. We're going to get 10.471 at the exact same decimal we got before. We took 20 pi times 1/6. So it worked out very well. 10.47 is what we get. So again, labeling, it's 10.47 inches of arc length, or in this case, crust. Now for the area formula, it's how many square inches of pizza? That's again an area of a sector. So we're going to take 1/2 times the radius squared. Radius is 10, so we're going to have times 10 squared times theta, which was again this 1/3 pi business. Now watch what happens here. If I've got 100 squared, or 10 squared, that's equal to 100. 1/2 times 100 is going to be 50. So we're going to take 50 times 1/3 pi and see what we come up with. So on the calculator, 50 times, parentheses, pi over 3, close parentheses, hit enter. The same 52.36 number we got when we used the formula up above. So 52.36 is the number of square inches of pizza that I get to eat. So those formulas will help us find the arc length and area of a sector if we are working with central angles measured in radians.